What's up, guys? Today is March 1st, and this is Michigan Muckraker. My name is Michelle, and in today's video I wanted to discuss with you some of the chemicals that will be at the electric vehicle battery component plant just north of Big Rapids, Michigan. I think it's important we understand what chemicals will be there and what the potential dangers of those chemicals are. So I'm going to jump right in, not going to mess around. I'm going to start with exactly what is going to be produced at the plant so that there's no confusion on the chemicals that I'm listing. So this is straight from Whitmer's press release on michigan.gov, and you scroll down to exactly what's going to be produced here. Where was it? Right here. Once completed, the facility in Big Rapids is expected to produce 150,000 tons of cathode material per year, covering an area estimated to span 260 acres, with plans to build two 550,000 square foot production plants, along with other supporting facilities, whatever that means. Additionally, the project will involve the construction of two production plants specifically dedicated to producing anodes, ultimately resulting in 50,000 tons of anode material produced per year. So anodes and cathodes, thousands of tons per year are going to be produced at the plant just north of Big Rapids. That's proposed. So, cathode. Let's see what chemicals we have here. I'm not going to read the entire thing, and I'm not going to try to pronounce all of these chemicals. You can read them. I will just tell you the abbreviation. So SBR and PVDF are both needed as binders. I looked into those and they do have dangers, but today is mostly about the cathode combines lithium and other choice metals. All materials in a battery have a theoretical energy density. Sorry, the anode is well optimized and designed right here. Anode materials are the main elements dictating the differences in composition while building positive electrodes for battery cells. The cathode materials are comprised of cobalt, nickel, and manganese, and the crystal structure forming a multi-metal oxide material to which lithium is added. This family of batteries includes a variety of products. Okay, so I'm not certain if we are going to produce it 100%. They're saying right now, we don't have all the answers first, but they're saying something about 60% of the battery will be made, and then we're going to transport that partially created battery. So where are the dangers in that? I mean, if you look at East Palestine, Ohio, you would know that transporting chemicals can be very dangerous. So that's something we need to figure out and possibly worry about. So if we aren't doing 100% of the battery, we may not have lithium, but we're still producing the anodes and the cathodes for sure. So I'm going to stick with what for sure we will have, which will have to be cobalt, nickel, and manganese from the cathode materials, 150,000 tons per year that we're going to be making. So this is the majority of the chemicals. Now, anode materials. The anode in lithium-ion battery is typically made up of graphite coated on copper foil. Graphite is commonly used. Okay. So graphite is the only material here that I'm going to worry about. This is the area that is proposed. Now, Big Rapids Township might be out of the deal for asking too many questions and being properly concerned for the residents of this area. So it may be moved farther north. I'm not sure right now. We have a lot of questions, not so many answers, but if it does move farther north, how much farther will this creek be involved? But either way, this creek is close enough that if anything were to happen, it's going to get into this creek. The groundwater, of course, will get into the river, which Muskegon River is over here, about less than 1 mile away. So lots of potential here. Lots of wonderful water that Gotion wants to use. Our water, Michiganders' water. So, manganese in the drinking water. Manganese does occur naturally. Your body needs some manganese to stay healthy, but too much can be harmful. Children and adults who drink water with high levels of manganese for a long time may have problems with memory, attention, and motor skills. Infants, babies under 1 year old, may develop learning and behavior problems if they drink water with too much manganese in it. So, it may not happen, but how would you know? Maybe years later you'll find out that you've been slowly poisoned by manganese in your water source, and that's why there's so much development problems as far as in behavior problems and learning problems with our children and people in general, memory problems. I mean, do we really want to do this? I have to keep asking because I don't think people are fully aware of all the dangers, and it's really important because while it may not happen, if you look around at what's going on all around the United States of America by itself, water has been polluted on several occasions, very recently just finding out. I mean, there was a lake recently, I should know the name of it, I'm sorry, but like 60 years, the people were being poisoned, and they didn't know about it. So do we want to possibly experience that here? I am completely aware that we need jobs around here, but is this the kind of job that we want? Being surrounded by chemicals and chemicals near our water. Why not go with something more natural? Food is going to be a problem, unfortunately, very soon. I'm not trying to be alarming and alarmist, but if you're paying attention to the supply chains and everything else, food is going to be a huge issue. Why not counteract that and create food? And then some people don't seem to want to look into any kind of alternative industry that could come here. And I think that's a big mistake. I'm not saying that I don't want jobs to come to this area, but I think we need to be smart about what kind of jobs we want. I wouldn't want my kid to be around all these chemicals, 6 to 12 hours a day, however long they're gonna make people work. Are these the jobs we want? We need to ask ourselves. Cobalt. This is a big one for me because if you've been paying attention at all, cobalt is a very rare mineral and it's required in every battery. It takes 1,000 times more cobalt in an EV battery than it does in your phone. 1,000 times more per battery. Keep that in mind. So, cobalt is a natural element found throughout the environment. Acute short-term exposure to high levels of cobalt by inhalation in humans and animals results in respiratory effects, such as a significant decrease in ventilatory function, congestion, edema, and hemorrhage of the lung. Respiratory effects are also the major effects noted from chronic long-term exposure to cobalt by inhalation, with respiratory irritation, wheezing, asthma, pneumonia, and fibrosis noted. Cardiac effects, congestion of the liver, kidneys, and conjunctiva, and immunological effects have also been noted in chronically exposed humans. Cobalt is an essential element in humans as a constituent of vitamin B. Human studies are inconclusive regarding inhalation exposure to cobalt and cancer. Okay. Sorry, just checking the stream. Making sure we're still good. So, cobalt is used, let's see. Cobalt is a natural element found throughout the environment. General population may be exposed to cobalt in the air, drinking water, and food. Cobalt can be measured in the urine and blood. Sorry. Health hazard. Acute exposure to high levels of cobalt by inhalation in humans and animals results in respiratory effects. Pretty much read the summary of it all. Limited data for cancer risk. Reproductive development. No information is available on the reproductive or development effects of cobalt in humans via inhalation exposure. In one oral study, no developmental effects on human fetuses were observed following treatment of pregnant women with cobalt chloride. that's kind of strange. I guess, how would you figure it out? So cobalt, 70% of it is mined in the Republic of Congo. So think about that. The entire world is trying to go with electric vehicles, and it takes 1,000 times more for an EV battery than a battery in your, or not a battery, but the chip in your phone. So what kind of damage do you think that does to the Republic of Congo? The slave trade there, of course, is booming, and it's terrible. It's like, instead of blood diamond, it's blood cobalt. And think about all these people, they're not wearing shoes. They are mining with their hands. There's video out there, thanks to the author of this book. They're mining with their hands. They don't have shoes, and they're inhaling it. They don't have any masks or anything to stop all the chemicals from just wafting right in their face. Why don't we care about these people? I highly suggest that you watch The Disturbing Reality of Cobalt Mining for Rechargeable Batteries on the Joe Rogan podcast. Now, I don't care if you're against Joe Rogan. I think he's a potato head myself. It doesn't matter. He interviews people that have something to say that's important. Listen to the person being interviewed and think for yourself. Take what you want, leave what you don't. Update your software with new information, okay? Don't just say, I'm not going to watch that because I don't like Joe Rogan. That's really ignorant. Don't do that. Look at the information, judge for yourself, think for yourself. Don't outsource your thinking, okay? Watch what he has to say because it's really important. This cobalt mining is terrible not only for the earth, but for human beings. So if you care about the earth or you care about human beings, then you should be against cobalt mining, which means that we need to pause this EV push and figure out what we can do to help the earth and humanity better than electric vehicles, okay? Do we want to be a part of the supply chain of something so damaging? Nickel. Nickel is the other thing that will be at the plant. Nickel is a ductile metal, and hopefully I said that right. Silver in color, for which reason it was mistaken for a long time for silver, and relatively hard. It was been used for millennia. Uses. Toxicity. While nickel can be naturally found in water and soil, it is often encountered in areas with human pollution. In small quantities, it is eliminated through urine or the intestinal tract. In large doses, however, it is toxic and may cause serious health conditions. Contact dermatitis, lung cancer, neurological problems, childhood development issues, kidney and liver failure, and cardiovascular disease. So, again, childhood development issues, neurological problems. This stuff can mess with your brain. Besides the heart and the gut, the brain is part of that holy trinity that you need working correctly, above all of the other things that we, of course, want to work correctly in our body. But our mind is very important. Do we want to risk poisoning it? Do we want to risk poisoning our children? Graphite. Let's see here. Health hazard information. Natural graphite can affect the body if it is inhaled or if it comes in contact with the eyes. Repeated inhalation of natural graphite over a number of years may cause scarring of the lungs, with such symptoms as chest tightness, shortness of breath, cough, black sputum, and pain. I think that might be pretty much all I needed to read off of this. Obviously, if you want to do more research on these documents and read these documents, they will all be in the description down below, so please feel free to do so. I highly encourage you do your own research. Don't just trust me. Never outsource your thinking. Now, lithium itself is not being mined here in Michigan. I understand that. This is part of being part of the supply chain for such a damaging practice. A race for lithium is sparking fears of water shortages in northern Argentina. I'm not going to read this. I'll link it down below. I just want you to be aware that EV batteries and this whole green agenda needs to be looked at. You need to understand that it's not good for the environment. It's behind a green mask. Behind the green mask is a big industry with lots of money involved. So if you're for big business, I mean, that's fine. That's your right. But you need to at least ask some questions. Last, this just came out January 6th, so it is March 1st now, a couple months ago already. But bottled water dries up in Flint as water crisis fallout continues in the new year. 8 years? I think it tells you, more than 8 years after the Flint water crisis was triggered, bottled water distribution has ended at help centers in Flint, while the fallout from the man-made emergency continues into 2023. 8 years, and the water still hasn't been cleaned. So, if there were to be an accident at the Gotion plant just north of Big Rapids, and our water was contaminated, the Muskegon River was contaminated, the worst case scenario that I worry about, how long do you think it would take to clean the river? Do you think it would ever be cleaned? Would anybody be held responsible? Would anybody be held accountable? Because nobody was held accountable for the situation. All charges were dropped after 8+ years of being in court. If you don't see how corrupt this all is, I don't know what to tell you. Do more research. Here's the most recent information on criminal and civil court cases tied to the water crisis, Flint's water service line replacement program, and the historic water settlement reached by attorneys for residents, the state of Michigan, the city of Flint, and others. Water distribution. The city confirmed this week that bottled water distribution has ended at Flint Help Centers. Asbury United Methodist Church, Bethel United Methodist Church, and Greater Holy Temple. Water was supplied through the end of 2022 by Blue Triton Brands through its Ice Mountain brand. So that water is coming from this area, which again, they should have clean water. It's pathetic that Michigan can't get this straight. And then they want to bring in all of these, I mean, it's not just here. They want to bring all these mega sites and bring in electric vehicle component part factories and everything to do with Industry 4.0, which is electric vehicles around our water sources. Electric vehicle chemicals around our water sources, all throughout Michigan. We need to be very careful. Do we want to pollute Michigan? Do we want to poison the people of Michigan? Now, of course, I would say, no, of course nobody wants to do that. But we need to be aware of the possibility that this could happen, and that if it does, no one is going to help. It won't be cleaned up, okay? It won't. Just ask Flint, Michigan. Water was supplied through the end of 2022, an Ice Mountain brand. Donations started in 2018 and amounted to more than $5 million. $5 million, they couldn't fix the water. In addition to the water donations, the company donated $60,000 to United Way of Genesee, sorry if I say that wrong, County last year to support the continued operation of 3 help centers. Let's see, testing of Flint's water has shown lead levels have been below the federal action level for more than 6 years, but officials and activists say bottled water demand has continued, partly because of residents' distrust of government. Can you blame them? State of Michigan has said it will continue to provide free water filters, replacement cartridges, and water testing kits in Flint until the city's service line replacement program has been completed. Why hasn't it been completed? Filters and residential sampling kits are available in City Hall. You know, I keep bringing up East Palestine. It's a terrible, terrible accident that's happened there. I can't believe the government's response, although I can at the same time. And I understand the distrust of government that the residents have of Flint, Michigan. Right now in East Palestine, they're saying everything's fine. But 45,000 animals have died in the contaminated area, but water's fine. You're supposed to trust them. The state of Michigan has said it will continue to provide free water filters. Okay. Mayor Sheldon Neely and others have touted Flint's progress in nearly completing its service line replacement program, but there's still work to do at the close of 2022, and Flint has already required multiple extensions of deadlines imposed by the settlement agreement between the city, the concerned pastors for social action, and others. Pastors and other groups that sued the city to guarantee the replacement of all lead and galvanized water service lines in Flint returned to federal court in November, asking a judge to set new deadlines for the completion of the work after city officials failed to meet the most recent September deadline for finishing the service line work. Are there any consequences for them not meeting their deadline? How much money has been wasted and thrown at the government for this? Work is expected to resume in the spring in an effort to complete the remaining 5% of lead service lines that still require replacement. Flint signed a $17.9 million contract with Lakeshore Global Corporation to complete the final phase of lead service line replacements. Lakeshore Global Corporation. Do some research. They're part of MEDC. Follow that rabbit hole with Industry 4.0. Please do your research. I will be going down that rabbit hole with you in a later video, but why not do it yourself? Dig in a little bit. This is important. It's called Project Elephant for a reason. It's huge for this area. Absolutely gigantic. Should be freaking Project Blue Whale. Lines are being excavated and replaced with new copper wire. No wire. Copper pipe. I'm sorry. Let me just restart. Lines are being excavated and replaced with new copper pipe if lead or galvanized pipe is found. The State Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy has estimated roughly 30% of the remaining 1,600 lines will be lead or galvanized. Why? The city also must complete the restoration of lawns and sidewalks that were damaged when service lines were dug up previously but never repaired. Wow. Yep. But let's get a toll road in Michigan because our government needs more money. That's for sure. They don't have enough. Let's keep taxing because a toll road is a tax, okay? Keep taxing us. That's the intelligent thing to do. Instead of asking what the hell are you doing with the money that you have? What are you doing with all the money that you have stolen from Michiganders? Sorry. Get back to it. In June, the state Supreme Court ruled that Gannese Circuit Judge David Newblatt, who acted as the long grand juror in the cases, didn't have the authority to indict the government officials and that the direct indictments that were issued deprived those officials of their rights to a preliminary examination. One criminal case remains active in Gannese District Court. In that case, former Flint Department of Public Works Director Howard Croft faces 2 misdemeanor charges of willful neglect of duty for his alleged role in the water crisis. His attorney said in December that he is continuing to pursue the dismissal of the charges against Croft. Civil cases. Planning is continuing on potential bellwether civil trials brought through class actions and by attorneys representing individual clients who claim they were harmed by Flint water. Although the state, the city, McLaren, Flint Hospital, and Roe contributed to the $626 million settlement of resident claims, 2 former Flint engineering consultants, North America North America and Lockwood, Andrews, and Newman, and the United States Environmental Protection Agency have declined to join in the settlement, leaving each as targets of lawsuits. The first bellwether trial pitted 4 Flint children against them, a marathon court battle that ended in a mistrial in August. Rather than participating in a retrial, Land agreed to the undisclosed settlement with the 4 children in December. Ended in a mistrial. Yep. They're just going to pay off those people when money will never fix their children. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of this. I'm real tired. This is just one incident when it happened when it comes to water and government / big business, because big business and big government are working hand in hand against the people, in case you didn't know. So you let me know. Are you worried about water, our water in Mecosta County, Nuevo County, and Muskegon County? Are you worried about the water in Michigan in general because of Industry 4.0? I would love to know your feedback, your comments. If you know of any other chemicals that are going to be at this plant that you would like me to go over, then let me know. And let me know in the comments down below. I appreciate you for watching, and I hope that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for all the news concerning Project Elephant. Thank you.